I'm extremely busy, but this is hugely important right now because it's always pitfalls. Canadians love propaganda. They're easily influenced, swayed, put into rabbit holes. It's always lunatic, anything but the truth. It's always somebody articulate comes along with a nice background behind them. Suit and ties sometimes, nice hair, and Canadians will fall for it every time. I'm making this for my friend Jonathan, who will probably likely upload it to Twitter. So there's a video going around. People are trying to pump this in my page. Completely, easily myth busted. I took international law. I spent an entire year. I have the accreditation. So when it comes to tort law, international law, I'm qualified. Sorry, folks. As for tort law, probate specifically in civil law, I also too am qualified. I took that many decades ago, and I'm going to run through it and explain it very easily, because guess what? Two countries that we're going to look at that everyone's trying to make a false narrative over, Canada and USA, are actually the exact same. In their federalisms, even though Canada's limited, the power of tort law is on all provinces, just like the United States of America. All tort law is on the 50 states. Each jurisdiction has it. Why is that? Whether you're an individual in civil law or a corporation, because that's state civil law too, wherever the corporation operates, wherever it's registered, even if it's federal, it will be registered there. It's going to be registered in a province in Canada, or it's going to be registered in a state in the United States. Whether it's international or domestic does not matter. You have a head office, you have a corporate registry, you did that in a province or a state, whether you only operate as a state entity or you operate as a federal, even international entity, or you're an individual, because there's all kinds of ways to do business. Both countries have almost entirely the same system. Now, I'm not saying they legalize corporations the same way, but that's all that probate encompasses. It's when people die or organizations transfer, or even civil societies are transferred to people, usually through death, or an estate is finished and there may be debts outstanding or reevaluations done, and people don't have the funds in that estate to cover liabilities, loans, whatever have you, or the business isn't running properly because the person at the helm is no longer around, or just an individual dies and it's their personal estate, their own fortune, whether they were sole proprietorship or just a person in life. It does not apply to the country of the United States or the country of Canada. Sorry, doesn't operate that way. Anyone telling you that is taking state probate law under tort law or provincial probate law under tort law. Canada or USA, does not matter. They operate exactly the same way. A civil remedy, a civil system of law that sets precedent, which makes the judgments made in the common law so that other cases like that will be decided the same. Does this mean the country of the United States ever in any precedent or rollout? No. Central banking system called Federal Reserve. Canada, Bank of Canada, central currency, countries, two countries who are not subject to those laws. How do those countries get subject on international law? How? Well, there's only 5 countries in the world that have any authority. And one is massive human rights violations, or two, a breach of national security of other nations. That's called international peace and security. It's a privy of the United States of America, Russia, UK, France, and China. That's true. But you have to fall into those areas. You had to have been in a war or a massive atrocity, over 3% loss of children and women. Yeah, 3% of the population of a group, a specific group of peoples culturally identified. If you don't have that, you can't trigger that system. It's been that way since 1945. Has Canada triggered any of that with the United States? The answer is absolutely not. No. USA and Canada are not going through that. The video of the guy with the green background and wood, who's got all these Canadians just jumping at the bit, Canada's a corporation, not true. In fact, his video absolutely pulling from tort and probate laws at the provincial level in Canada. Provincial level. Not one single law exists for the federal, the country. Same with the USA. You can't pull one. The man's reading off provincial civil law under tort, probate law specifically, for bankruptcy, insolvency related to death, or what you could say is death of an institution. Maybe somebody has moved on and just abandoned their corporation or transferred it to another entity and just walked away. There's all kinds of ways this happens. Not countries. Not there. You can't even pull a law to go through it because there is no law for that. Because countries are countries. That's it. That's how USA and Canada work. This video is very simple. I know people don't maybe know these terms, and you get people who pull state or provincial legislation from any state, don't give you their sources or give you the specific document where you'd find that they took it from a province in Canada, one province particular, or one state somewhere in the United States. I'm not going to try to go through what that fella's going through. It's a huge waste of my time, and I don't even have to do it because it's completely 100% false. Canadians jumping on this have not done any homework, have no precedent in law, or actually any legal capacity of that ever reached. What the guy says is literally complete babble and baloney. It took me all of 30 seconds yesterday. I rejected a number of posts. But this is credible, real, verifiable. And if you start taking the words I said here, let's start with probate and tort. Do a simple AI search. I don't care which one you go through, because I can tell you at a 99.999999999, it will all come out the same. You can't even find sources to dispute what I've said in this video in the United States or in Canada. Facts. People need to stick with facts and stop believing every Tom, Dick, and Harry with a fancy background or nice clothes or articulate and reading off. There are so many Canadian institutionalized lunatics who fall for every little crown carrot that's orchestrated by people loyal to the crown, by the way. I don't trust so many on Twitter. People ask me, why don't you operate on Twitter? Because it's good. There's good people on there. It's not that. But you can't verify anybody. Look, I'm really Dave Bjorkman. Look, I'm on a video. You can find me in publications. I'm a real person. I'm even found on Wikipedia. There's sources, news media. You can find out who I really am. Twitter, it's a voice in the darkness, often with handles. People don't even use their real name. Who is this alias? We don't operate in real life like that. You don't lend money or credence to people you can't verify, right? It leads to misinformation, disinformation, fraud, theft, all of it. So why would you take somebody who you don't know who, don't know where, provide no sources? And if they're going to talk about something, they should be able to say, here's some key words to search. Like I said, I'm using his own words and the words he left out to trigger your search. Probate. He's going through probate. There's no such thing as country probate except at the UNSC, and there's a strict lesson for that. How do you get that? Simple search. Tort law, civil law, and it's not at the federal level. International, it's only there, tort law of the UNSCP 5, when massive human rights atrocities or a situation of war has happened. We are not there with Canada and USA, not even close. Anyone saying that is fabricating. They're even using tort law outside of any kind of UNSC judgment or resolution passed, which there are resolutions, folks. Lots of resolutions, in fact. UNSC is busy all the time, every day of the week, those 5, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. So those claims that they're useless and they do nothing, that's what the General Assembly shit UN states say. And people who propagate and teach wrong systems of international law to all of you, because they're probably subjugating you. They're probably manipulating you, the people, who are probably not even defined as people. You're probably peasant, serf, subject, or savage. And there's other names and variations depending on the country, but those are the big ones. Yeah, I've been teaching this stuff for years. It's very hard to get anything past me, and I am studied and graduated in international law. Just finished a 1-year course, so it's going to be really hard for anybody to pull the wool over my eyes. I have that designation attached to my degree now. And I also have credit and banking law, and I also have corporate law. So tort and probate, not going to get that on me. And I also know how it works in both USA and Canada at the regional level. That's the only place it's found. Otherwise, again, international law. What are the 2 words you guys want to look for? Tort law and probate. Put them together. Do an AI search, and you're going to get all your answers. Throw Canada, USA. Say, here's a good question for you, a proposed question I can give you. Is USA able to put Canada in probate through tort law? Or is it only at regional levels for individuals and corporations in both Canada and USA? You're going to get all the answers. You can even do a secondary one. Go, how does international law work for tort, specifically probate, between 2 countries? And you're going to get a lot. I hope it goes to the UNSC, because they're the only ones who do it. And I actually have studied every single United Nations Security Council resolution since 1945. So unless you've done that yourself, I have. I've read them all of it. That's a tremendous amount. I've done that over 6 years of my life, mastered it. I don't know any other Canadian, and I doubt there's a lot of Americans. I'm sure in high doctorate levels a lot get into that, but I'm probably the best source that I know of. I've never met anyone, even in American academia, who's come that far. That's my video. Share, share, share. Credible, real, verifiable. These are important things. Stop trying to fall into the rabbit holes. They're there to mess you up, to ruin Canada, the 51st state, because Canadians love to be lied to. Tell me another lie. That's my video. Bye now.